Okay, here is a quiz. What country was a British colony, fought for independence, created a democracy, and has a famous family named Obama? The United States? Well, maybe, but it could be Kenya. Kenya is a country in East Africa. It was a British colony until 1963. That wasn't that long ago. Some of you probably have parents or aunts or uncles who were alive when Kenya was still part of the British Empire. When it became independent, it started a democracy and elected a president. And what about that Obama family? President Barack Obama's father is from Kenya. Some of his family members still live there, and Kenyans are very proud to have someone with Kenyan roots become the President of the United States. So what do you think of when you think of Africa? If you watch a lot of TV, you might think it's dangerous. Or you might know it has lots of animals. But Africa is more than that. It's a diverse continent with a growing economy and a lot of natural resources. But like any young democracy, just like the United States after 1776, Kenya has lots of challenges too. Its legislature is called the Parliament, just like in England, and its leader is a president, just like the United States. The president of Kenya is a man named Mwai Kibaki. He's just the third president Kenya has ever had. Next December, it will hold elections to see who will be the next president. Choosing a president can be hard for any country, but it may be even harder in Kenya. Why? Kenya has about 42 different tribes, and many people think of themselves as a member of their tribe more than they think of themselves as a Kenyan. So when they vote for president, some people want someone who is good for their tribe more than they want someone who is good for their country. That makes it tough to run a democracy. Plus, each tribe has its own language, so imagine trying to run a country with 42 different languages. That's why Kenya has 2 official languages, English and Swahili. Do you know how to say hello in Swahili? Jambo! Here's one you might know. How do you say no problem in Swahili? Give up? Hakuna Matata. Kenya had some problems in its last election, so the country has created a brand new constitution. That new constitution says the country needs a new Congress, just like the United States. And it says almost half of all the lawmakers in the country have to be women. What do you think of that, girls? Kenya is part of a world that's more and more connected every day. A lot of Kenyan culture comes from the Arab world. Arabs have been trading with Kenya for hundreds of years. They brought their language, their religion, even their crafts. Many of Kenya's most successful business people come from India and Pakistan. A lot of new roads and buildings in Kenya are being built by China. Some of the biggest resorts are owned by Italians. The most popular TV shows are soap operas from Mexico.
And the documents you stole from my bank, you thief.
Kenya's favorite soccer star is from Mexico too, but their favorite soccer teams and their favorite cell phone companies, they're from England. That's not the way it used to be. 100 years ago, Kenya was pretty remote. Most Kenyans dress something like this. But a lot has changed. Now they're pretty modern, like you and me. They wear t-shirts and jeans, just like American kids, or suits and ties, just like American grown-ups. They have electricity and TVs and cell phones, just like American families, and lots of them live in big cities. But some Kenyans take pride in holding on to their traditions. One of the most famous tribes in Kenya is called the Maasai. A lot of them have cell phones now, and Facebook accounts too. But mostly they still live pretty much the way they've lived for hundreds of years. They wear traditional clothes and jewelry, they live in huts, and they still sing traditional songs and dance traditional dances. The Maasai live alongside the animals of Kenya. These animals aren't just beautiful, they're a big part of the Kenyan economy. People come from all over the world to go on safaris so they can take pictures of animals that most people only see in zoos. Kenyans can see them every day in the wild: giraffes, zebras, gazelles, wildebeest, buffalo, elephants, even warthogs. When tourists pay money to see these animals in the wild, it's good for the Kenyan economy. But a lot of these animals are in trouble. Every year, thousands of elephants are killed. Their tusks are made of ivory, and people use ivory to make jewelry and other things. But every piece of ivory means that somewhere an elephant had to die for it. Kenya used to have lots of rhinos too, but now rhinos are almost extinct. What's the fastest animal on Earth? The cheetah. But right now, cheetahs are disappearing fast. Even Simba is in trouble. Only a small number of lions still live in the wild. That's why a lot of Kenyans are fighting to protect their wildlife, so that future generations can enjoy the animals as much as we do. If you think about it, Kenya is not too different from the United States after the Revolutionary War. We were a new country too, with lots of different people who had different interests, and a lot of resources we had to figure out how to use wisely. What would you do if you were Kenya's next president? Would you try to save the elephants or the lions? Would you try to make Kenya more modern, or would you try to preserve its traditions? Would you want to make sure every family had enough food to eat? Or would you want to make sure every family had an Xbox? Those are the kinds of questions that Kenyans today are trying to answer. It's a young country, just like the United States was 200 years ago. Back then, America had its founding fathers. Today in Kenya, everybody is a founding father or a founding mother, and they're all working to create a new democracy.